Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. A record-breaking victory yesterday for Celtic at Tannadice. 9-0 winners. What a result. I'm still buzzing from the game itself. One of the best games of football I've watched as a Celtic fan in my lifetime. And I think a lot of us can agree with that statement. It was just so enjoyable. It was sexy to watch. I used the phrase a couple of weeks ago, Ange's sexy Celts. Well, that's the phrase to keep using because we're in full flow. But even with a 9-0 win, you can't win, can you? You can't, because some people will always have something to complain about. So let's have a look at some of the very absurd reaction to Celtic's victory yesterday afternoon. Now, before we go any further with today's video, as always, make sure to hit like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. We're well on the way to 36,000 subscribers. We're trying to get to 40,000 as quickly as possible. How close can we get before the end of 2022? Well, that's dictated by you. So make sure to hit the big red button if you haven't already. And let's get into talking about it. It's a fun one today, it is. So I'm trying to carry on this series that I kind of started last week with the Robbie Neilson video, where I just look at the worst reactions to the weekend's games in Scottish football, and specifically Celtic's games. And this week has provided nothing short of the highest form of amusement, just like Robbie Neilson did last week. So we're going to look at all that, but very quickly, briefly, we've got to talk about Celtic's game yesterday and the 9-0 victory, because it was just unbelievable. And I'll point you towards the match reaction if you want to hear my in-depth thoughts towards the 9-0 victory. But honestly, just unbelievable stuff. Everybody is clicking in this team at the moment. We look like a different animal. The way that we are able to cut teams apart and the way we score goals, it's truly special. And I made the point yesterday that I think now I'm willing to accept, and not that I was refusing to accept, but I'm ready to sit down and utter the words, this is the best Celtic team in my lifetime. I've never seen a team that provides such entertainment than what this Ange Postecoglou side does at this moment. You know, 9-0s, they're very rare. They don't come about every now and then, but yesterday, you know, you looked at that performance, you looked at that scoreline and the way we scored those goals, and it's weird to say, but you could see that happening again this season, because that's how we are just now. That's how good we are. That's how good everyone is. This team from front to back is impeccable at the moment, and it's hard to, you know, look at a team and pick a best 11 because everyone is firing on all cylinders. From the guys who started yesterday to the guys who came on the park as substitutes, you know, we've got such a strong side. And yesterday's performance just kind of captured everything that we have worked towards and what we've built under Ange Postecoglou. It was just truly spectacular. And I'm buzzing now. You know, we've got a big week. We've got a cup game on Wednesday. We've, of course, got the derby on Saturday. They could be two very tasty games. And that's the thing. Right now, at this moment in time, Celtic are playing really well. Rangers are, of course, off the back of a 4-0 win. They've, of course, made it to the Champions League as well. You're looking at two really decent sides at the moment in Scottish football. It's going to be a really entertaining game on Saturday. But if we can even perform, you know, 90% to the level of what we did against Dundee United at the weekend, we could be in for a very special derby result. So I'm absolutely buzzing. But of course, alongside that, there is negatives. Not so much for the Celtic fans, but for the outsiders, for the people who don't support Celtic. The reaction has been extraordinary. It really has. It's been special. You know, Celtic win 9-0 once, and you think the world's about to end. So today, we're going to look at some of that extraordinary reaction and have a laugh with it, because my, oh my, that's the word to use, laughable. Some of it is absolutely laughable. So I'm going to start off with this tweet, and it's not the original tweet that I have a problem with, because it's just a bit of a laugh, a bit of a joke. So a Rangers fan posted, "Can't wait for when we play Dundee United and they play like their families are being held hostage." And then the top reply is what has me in absolute hysterics. I'm howling because it makes no sense whatsoever. It honestly caught me off guard at first, but I just buckled when I sat down and digested the actual comment itself. He said, "It's actually laughable at this point, the different approaches these teams take to playing us and playing them." Rangers literally won 4-0 at the weekend against a team in the same division. And do you know what? In fact, a team who's better in this division at this moment in time. Ross County, a better team than Dundee United. They shoved 4 goals past them and conceded none. Yeah, these teams take a different approach. Must have been some struggle to get those 4 goals. It must have been a struggle, eh? Just the 32 shots for Rangers in the game against Ross County, with 13 on target and 73% of the ball possession. Just the 32 and the 73% possession. May I add, Celtic had less shots against Dundee United. They had the same amount of shots on target, and they had only 2% more possession. The stats are eerily similar, yet apparently clubs in the division, they set up differently to play Celtic and Rangers. Has it ever just striked you, is there ever just this thought, maybe just for a second, that Celtic and Rangers are better than every other team in the league? Yes, Celtic scored 9 goals, and 9 is of course greater than 4, but that ultimately comes down to how clinical Celtic were in the final third yesterday. We scored 9, you scored 4. Rangers could have easily scored 9 against Ross County at the weekend. They simply didn't. Celtic did. They took more chances. That's the only difference in what happened in the weekend's game. And you know what? I can understand the frustration sometimes, especially when it comes to a side like Dundee United, because I have sat down and I have watched games where Rangers have played Dundee United and have really struggled. Last season, I remember on a couple of occasions at Tannadice, Dundee United were a good side. In fact, they beat Rangers at Tannadice, didn't they, last season? But it swings and roundabouts, and there's no point complaining about it. Here's 2 words for you. David Martindale. 2 words right there, because every time Celtic play Livingston, once again, I'll use the phrase that the first tweet originally said, you'd think their families are being held hostage, right? But, the joke usually goes that Martindale lies down for Rangers, because Rangers always seem to get a really good result against them. It's just the way that the game goes. Sometimes teams turn up better on the day, sometimes their setup's better, sometimes the opposition just can't break them down. What is the point in creating these conspiracy theories that Dundee United are lying down to Celtic? Celtic were clinical yesterday. We were great. Just like Rangers were against Ross County at the weekend. We just happened to put 9 in the back of the net. But no, let's keep wheeling and peddling these conspiracy theories and speak them into existence so it doesn't hurt as much come the end of the year when one side wins the title.
Just like the Bible says, it's basically an intergalactic invasion into this space through people. I'm telling you, it's what all the ancients said. It's what they warned of. It's what we're dealing with. They're demons. They're frickin' interdimensional invaders, okay? I'll just say it. Make fun of me all you want on CNN or wherever, but everyone already innately knows this. These people are not frickin' humans, okay?
I know I've had a bit of a laugh and a joke in the past when I've came on here and I've labelled Livingston and David Martindale's sides football terrorists because we've really struggled against them. But seriously, deep down, do I believe that there is a really kind of ingrained conspiracy against Celtic to get points at the Tony Macaroni? No. Because sometimes you're better on the day than you are on other days. It's just how football works. There's no point in getting your knickers in a twist about nothing. Just to offer more peace of mind to the Rangers fans who do believe that teams are maybe letting Celtic score far too easily. Before the games were played at the weekend there, Celtic had scored 12 goals in the league and Rangers had scored 10. A difference of 2. A whole 2 goals. You can't fight with stupid, I suppose. This is one of the best reactions from yesterday. This is meltdown stuff. Trust me, we're going to come on to the biggest meltdown of the weekend in a moment because there's a full thread to read through, but this is fucking brilliant. Mr. Ewan McKenna tweeted, any fan that enjoys beating a smaller side that isn't a rival in their division by 5 or 6 goals in football, 40 points in rugby, 15 points in GAA, hates the sport. Be it Celtic, Bayern, Benfica, Dublin, Leinster or Leicester, they aren't real sports fans. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry that I take a great enjoyment in watching my team score 9 goals past its opposition. It's almost as if I want my team to win. And win in style be it that. If you're that sour against a team having an incredibly good game and winning 9-0 to the point where you're tweeting that folk aren't real sports fans for enjoying it, then you are a right dour-faced to put it very fucking bluntly. It's not as if 9-0 happens every week. In fact, what's this? That's the first time that Celtic have won by a score like this. It's record-breaking. It's the biggest away win in the club's history. It's not like we're used to doing this week in, week out. It's not as if we've seen it happen 10, 15 times over the past 20 years. It's a it's a rarity, it's a once-in-a-generational sort of result. But no, of course, Celtic winning 9-0 has caused this massive meltdown. It's panic stations. World War III is about to begin. And apparently we're not real sports fans for enjoying it. What a shame. We may as well give it up. Season ticket holders, cut your card in half. We may as well not go anymore. Be it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9 goals that Celtic win a game by, I will revel in it. Don't care who we're playing. Don't care the situation. I will love every single passing moment of it. And if that makes me a cynical bastard, and if that means that I'm not a true sports fan, then do you know what? I fucking hate sports. It kind of ties in nicely to this one that was posted into the subreddit earlier today. Mr. Dan He said, the standard of this league is an absolute joke. No one should beat another team in the same league 9-0. It's just shocking. I don't know what they expect a club like Celtic to do. Do we suddenly score 5 or 6 and then stop? Have mercy on them. Let's just give in. Let's just stop playing. That's not going to happen, especially if Ange Postecoglou at the helm and the phrase of the club being, we never stop. But one thing, and this is where I'll break the laugh about it for a moment. I will be honest. The league standard is shocking at the moment. And if you've listened to the TSF podcast, I've been on there for the last year or so now, talking about how the Scottish football standard is probably the lowest it's been in a long time outside the top 2. Outside Celtic and Rangers, I think that the Scottish Premiership is probably the worst it's been in a long, long time in terms of the on-park quality. Celtic and Rangers can't do anything about that. What are we supposed to do? Are we meant to halt our progress? Are Celtic meant to stop signing players to allow the gradual catch-up of all the clubs below us? These teams who can't get near the quality of Celtic and Rangers, yes, I understand they don't have the financial ability to catch up. That's something that can't be helped. But one thing that can be helped is them improving their own quality on the park and them making the right decisions to make them a better team. You look, and this is the prime example I will use, and I don't mean to sound like an entitled Celtic fan here for a moment, but if Motherwell can't beat Sligo fucking Rovers in a Europa League qualifying match, that's not Celtic's problem. That's not Celtic's fault. It's simply embarrassing and they're creating their own issues. Celtic and Rangers can't do anything to help Motherwell go and beat Sligo Rovers. And that's what's halting the progress of the rest of our league, because they simply can't do enough to make themselves better. This isn't the first time in the last few years we've seen an embarrassment of a result like that outside the top 2. We've seen Kilmarnock, of course, lose to Connah's Quay a few years ago. When results like that happen and clubs can't progress through the opportunities that they are kind of gifted to them, what are we supposed to do? What are Celtic supposed to do? Is Peter Law meant to go into his own back pocket? Dermot Desmond, sorry, meant to go into his own back pocket and say, do you know what? Here, catch up with us. Yeah, help yourselves out a wee bit. Hand me outs. No, that's not how it works. The quality of Scottish football will get better. Slowly and surely, I'm sure we'll see the rest of the league return to a better standard over the course of time. And people are concerned about Celtic and Rangers being in the Champions League and pulling even further away. But it's the duty of the other clubs to appoint the right managers, to sign the right players. You look at a club, and this is one thing I'll bring up again, a club like Motherwell, right? They have given Stephen Hamill the permanent job as manager of Motherwell after 2 games as temporary manager. I am so against that. I'm not even a Motherwell fan, but there's so many clubs in Scotland who are willing to opt for cheaper options, safer options, that aren't going to work out in the long term just because they've been in temporary positions or they've been with the club before. Be adventurous. Celtic went out and appointed a manager from Japan, and look where it's got us. You know? Rangers went and appointed a manager who was a former winner of the Dutch Eredivisie with Feyenoord. I know that the clubs in Scotland don't have the same pull factor and can do that, but go out and do a proper, thorough interview process. Identify a manager. Do something rather than just appoint it to someone who's been a coach at the club and part of the problems that have been holding you back for so long. And I don't mean to just pick on Motherwell necessarily, but these are the same in-house problems all around Scotland that are holding clubs back, and it's the reason they can't get close. The closest someone has came so far is Hearts, and I think they will continue to get closer as time goes on, because they make the right signings, because they make the right decisions, but so many clubs in Scotland don't do the same thing. This is peak comedy. I don't even know how to go about this one, because it's a Bible. It is an absolute Bible. Do you know what? I'm going to scroll through it. Like, this is the length. Look at the Ukraine flag, okay? This is the length of this man's issue. All of that. Do I even bother? Let's have a look at the highlights, shall we? I don't even know how I'm going to comment on it, because it's fucking hilarious. And at some point, you've just got to admire that someone can give so much of a fuck. It's honestly hilarious. So it's in reply to that tweet we read out a minute ago about real sports fans and enjoying 9-0 wins. Bullshit. But anyway, Mr. Lawson here says, the thing about professional contrarians is sometimes they're so spot on. They knock it completely out of the park, as Ewan does here. I could not agree more. See also fans of Real Madrid, Barcelona, Juventus, PSG, and now Manchester City too. These people are not football fans. They're insecure wankers and failures in life, which means they attach themselves to serial winners and think this makes them winners by default, when in fact it makes them absolute, total losers. Sir, you are the man who has contributed a thread of about 10 to 12 tweets on Celtic winning a game 9-0 and it pissing you off. If anyone's a fucking loser here, it's you. Being a football fan is about community, history, but above all, pain, suffering, getting your heart broken again and again, because that makes even the tiniest bit of success all the more worthwhile. Football's not even about winning, it's about glory. It's about glory. Oh, well, thank fuck Celtic have seen so much glory, because that's what it's all about then, isn't it? That one pisses me off altogether. You know, it's about community, history. Celtic, one of the most rich histories in sporting history. Not just football history, sporting history. Everything that Celtic's about. I'm not even going to start to get into it because I don't need to. Celtic's community, brilliant community. The things that Celtic is set up for, the whole point behind the club. You know, we embody all of that. Getting your heart broken and broken again. Do you not think Celtic fans have suffered heartbreak? You don't think that's a thing? There was 80,000 Celtic fans who travelled to Seville in 2003 to be left absolutely devastated and as we lost a game in extra time. Celtic fans who watched a European Cup final in 1970 as we lost to Feyenoord. Do you think they just went home to their beds and thought, there'll be another chance in the future? I've been heartbroken at fucking Cup final. I was heartbroken when we lost in the semi-final to fucking Rangers last season. If you don't think that Celtic fans suffer heartbreak just because we win trophies year after year, it is bullshit. Absolute bullshit. And people talk about the entitlement of Celtic and Rangers fans and talk about the entitlement of the derby. There is an entitlement sometimes, I feel, with other teams' fans where Celtic aren't allowed to enjoy things because we get so much success. That's entitlement. Because if we're not allowed to enjoy success, then who is? Who gets to determine what's allowed to be enjoyed or not? Not fucking Sean Lawson on Twitter anyway. Honestly, I don't even know what parts to go through, because there's so much shite in this thread, where he's, you know, here we go here, he's talking about how, you know, Celtic aren't actually a club who are socialists and such. Hearts were the ones that set the living, you know, he's getting right into history about living wages and blah blah blah, and then he gets into the Scottish media and the breakdown of prize money. Celtic fans singing about the IR. He really touches on all cylinders. You can tell the man has really been annoyed by the 9-0 victory. He's honestly very insecure. He talks about being insecure as a Celtic fan. I have never seen more insecurities in one tweet or one thread in my life than I have right here. He ends his thread with, you know what, all of these clubs, very much with Celtic among them, are the equivalent of this: willy waving wankers, the lot of them. I'm glad that you enjoyed the game, sir. Honestly, unbelievable. I can't believe that I've actually given the time of day to the thread that has just been said there. But it's hilarious. Go and have a read it yourself. You'll break down into tears. I certainly did. The reaction to the game in general. You know, Liverpool won 9-0 at the weekend against Bournemouth in the English Premier League. And I feel like the reaction was probably a lot more normal in comparison to what this is. I feel like people could have a laugh and a joke about it. Look at it as a good team beating a lesser team in that division. But of course, as I said, it's the beginning of Armageddon with Celtic winning 9-0. We may as well cancel all the domestic competitions because it's game over. Celtic are too good, blah, blah, blah. Honestly, it just... You can't win, can you? The reaction to Kyogo's goal yesterday, the offside goal, absolutely tremendous as well. Great, chop it off. I would have took 8-0. No too fussed. 8 would have done me. I mean, there was this one from yesterday that was posted on Follow, obviously made its way over to Twitter. I don't spend my time on there. Offside rule needs changed, in my opinion. Kyogo about 5 yards offside deliberately, but ball goes out wide, and now he's onside with all the space in the world. Legal goal, but that rule is there for abusing. What? How many layers of absolute thick pig shit can be around one's brain to actually type this out and go, I've made a good point here? How many layers? Man is offside and moves onside. Oh, we need to change the rule. Moving is banned in football. If you're offside, you've got to stay offside. That's you. You're done. Stay there. It's almost like Kyogo is an intelligent footballer who's read the line and went, I better get myself onside to score this goal. And finally, just to wrap up, the absolute normal reaction to Celtic win 9-0, of course, that three-lettered publication, they had a bit of fun, didn't they? They posted an article which highlighted the fact that Alexandro Bernabei was back in the Celtic team. He played yesterday only 2 weeks after his drink driving charges. That was the story of the game, of course. That was the story. You can tell Celtic are winning. Ultimately, to wrap things up, it's fucking incredible being a Celtic fan at the moment, and I am not going to let any Tom, Dick or Harry or any stupid follow post or tweet tell me that I cannot enjoy winning 9-0, because I will love it, and I hope we win every single fucking game 9-0. I would take it. I would see the fun in it. Some people might not. Guess what? I do. And I thoroughly enjoyed that yesterday. And I can't wait for the rest of this season. Celtic this season, 5 games in, 5 wins, 3 very tough away games, 2 home games against the sides who are arguably battling for third place this season, and 21 goals scored with 1 goal conceded. Oh boy, does it feel good. Right. There you go. That's me for today. It's fun, isn't it? It's fun. See you next time.